Hey guys, welcome to Boredom. This video is going to be covering the build process of the Build Kit Board Tayto kit. I'll have more information about my review at the end of the video, so be sure to stick around. But I'll let Earlier Me take over on the build, and I hope you guys enjoy.
So here's the actual box that it came in. It came in today. I probably ordered it maybe 2 weeks ago, but then it was a pre-order. So let's just hop right into it and see what it looks like. So here's what comes inside the box. Grip tape, charger for the board itself, the bearings for all the wheels, 2 Build Kit Board stickers that you can adhere to whatever you want, Flip Sky remote, 97mm Build Kit wheels, and as their motto says, build not bought. It's 2 motor pulleys because this is the dual motor version. The motor mounts themselves, part of the trucks, that's the lower portion. This battery cover, battery, riser pads, skate tool, along with some of the other tools for assembling. So you actually don't need your own tools for doing this. Motor pulleys. And finally, here is the 31-inch deck with the red topper. And all the holes are pre-drilled. There's nothing you actually have to do, and it is actually kind of nice looking. So I'm going to clean all this up and start the build. Alright, so we're back here, and right now we're just going to be assembling the trucks, and it's pretty simple. You're just going to grab your skate tool and unscrew all of these. Once you're there, you're going to take off part of the bushing way that it wants you to put it on. You basically just pop it in. And what I did to make it a little bit easier to put on, because as is, it's going to be really hard to get those threads started, I simply omitted the washer. Alright, so once you get the nut started, I simply tighten it without the washer. Note the washer is right here, and this is not considered proper whatsoever. However, to make things a bit easier, because it's hard enough to start the nut on without the washer, it just makes it easier to start it with the washer on because of the added thickness. And then you just got to tighten this up just like the other one to make sure that you are nice and snug and have a couple millimeters of thread showing on the end. So if you can see the difference between this one right here and this one, you're going to want it to look a little more like that to start, because you don't want the trucks to be too loose when you go on your first ride, which would probably result in speed wobbles and you would probably fall, and that is not ideal. You're going to need 2 bearings, a spacer, a wheel. So what someone else said to do is to simply take your bearing, slide it on, then slide the wheel spacer on. And note there's already a bearing in this wheel. And you're just going to basically take this and press it in, and that makes sure that the spacer is properly vertical. It's not perfectly aligned right now, but that doesn't matter. Then you have 1 wheel assembled, and I'm going to repeat that for the next 4 wheels. If you take a look at these trucks, there's actually one that is longer than the other. So for an easier comparison, they're not quite lined up. And that just means that this is going to be your front truck with the shorter end, and the longer end is going to be for the motor end for the rear truck. So you're going to take one of these washers, you're going to slide it right onto the axle of the truck. Then you're going to take one of the wheels without the pulley, and once you're there, you're going to throw another washer on the outside, and then follow it up by putting the nut back on and tightening it down with the T-tool provided.
And for the next step,
you're going to take the Loctite and you're going to apply a drop to every single screw you put on this board because you do not want it to fall apart while you are riding. You are going to line this all up and you're going to repeat this with the other 4 screws and then move on to the right motor. You are going to repeat this now for the right side. So now once you have both motors mounted to the mounting bracket, you're going to slip one of these keys into the motor shaft. Alright, so the next step is going to be adding Loctite to these 4 bolts. Alright, so as you can see, I have the belt tensioned and on the pulley. And now I'm going to repeat the exact same thing for the opposite side. So there you have the rear truck. Now moving on to the board itself, you're going to take the board and you're going to start mounting the front truck to the front of the board and then the rear truck to the rear of the board. So once you have both the front and rear truck assembled and put on the board, you can start moving on to the electronics in the enclosure. So setting the board to the side and grabbing the enclosure itself, you can see the front and the back of the enclosure along with the battery. And to adhere it, you're going to use both of these Velcro strips. So I'm going to do that now. Once you have the battery securely mounted in the enclosure, you're going to take the VESC and you're going to begin to wire it up and mount it in place. Now moving on to testing, you're going to take the board and flip it on over. So now that everything is wired up correctly, you're going to want to take your remote and connect to the board for the first time and make sure that the motors are spinning in the correct direction. So as you can see, when I move my thumb up on the throttle, both motors begin to spin in the correct direction. So once you've tested that the motors are functional, you're going to simply take this enclosure, flip it over, once you have the enclosure fully on the board, you're going to want to double check that everything's still functional by simply powering on the board, powering on the remote, and making sure that it still functions as normal, rotating in the correct direction to move you forward instead of backwards. So now that the enclosure is on fully, we can start beginning on the grip tape. But first I'm going to plug it into charge so that while I'm doing the grip tape, it's charging up for my first ride. Now with the 50 individual hexagon pieces of grip tape and the little custom printed spacing tool, you can begin to start placing the grip tape however you want.
Thank you for watching my build video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm currently testing and collecting my thoughts on the board and should have that review up shortly if it's not up already. I'll leave a link in the description below to that. I hope you guys liked it, and if you did, please be sure to drop a like. If you didn't, drop a dislike. Please comment below what you'd like to see in the next video. Anyways, I'll see you in the next one.